Welcome to Champagne Gains, the podcast where we pop the cork on the world of fitness competitions, lifestyle, and everything in between. I'm your co-host, Becca Mickelson, nutrition coach, personal trainer, and NPC bikini competitor.
And I'm Kiki, IFBB pro bikini athlete and coach. Together, we'll be guiding you through the ins and outs of what it takes to shine on the stage and life, while keeping it real and having a little fun along the way.
From prepping for the big day to enjoying the post-show treats, we're going to cover it all. We'll also be talking about food, fitness, and how to balance this unique lifestyle with our everyday lives.
Plus, we'll be inviting some special guests to join us on the show, fellow competitors, coaches, and others in the industry who can share their wisdom and stories with us.
And of course, we'll be getting personal and sharing our own experiences, successes, and struggles as we train and compete in this exciting world of fitness competitions.
So grab your favorite glass of bubbly and let's get ready to dive into today's episode of Champagne Gains. What's going on, guys? Coach Kiki
and Coach Becca back for another episode of Champagne Gains. Today, we're talking about what to expect in your first prep, at your first show, basically having realistic expectations. But
yeah,
we need to have our intro conversation first.
Yeah. So, Becca is obviously in prep still.
Yes, I did not quit.
Good job.
I'm feeling so good. Like this week, I don't know what it was, but like Monday morning, I was like feeling myself, like really feeling myself. Like I'm gonna win the overall, feeling myself. I just feel like so good.
Dude, I could see that like confidence in your check-ins too.
I was like,
You
I
know,
guess I'll put a smile on my face.
yeah, yeah, you could totally tell like the difference, the energy.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I
It's
mean, I
been
think
fun.
there's always those times in prep where it's like you're like dragging and then like some light switch and it's like shit, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Like it can go back and forth. Obviously, like you're still gonna have days where it's like you're not feeling yourself, but like the more days that you can be like confident and just like focusing on doing your absolute best, like it's gonna
Checking all the
make
boxes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been like the one thing that it has been like bugging me has been not having an amazing place to pose. Because like in the garage, like when we were in Ohio, in the garage was always like perfect. We had big mirrors in there and
Mhm.
um where else? Oh well, like when we could pose at old school, but like that was a not an issue. And now it's like, okay, well, I work out at a fucking Y, and it's like a family gym, and I just like don't pose in there. So I do it at my house. Um, but I have to like get myself into like posing mode. Which I never like felt like I had to do that before. So I literally like I put my suit on because well, a lot of the time I'm just like in fucking sweatpants and a giant hoodie. So it's like I'm not gonna pose in that. But this week has been like really good with posing and just like doing it right when I get home from the gym, and it's been more fun. So plus it gets better and easier when you start seeing the actual treads.
Yeah, dude. I hate posing in the improvement season.
Yeah.
Not it's not fun. Like I just it's also like right now I'm not used to like I've never weighed this much in my entire life. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just like new territory where I'm just like, oh my God, I just like feel like this like marshmallow like moving throughout space. Ben thinks I'm ridiculous, but I'm like, dude, I just feel like I don't know.
It's a weird feel. Like you look great, but I get what you're saying for
Yeah,
sure.
and just
Uh,
like, oh, it was cool. Like, so we obviously just got back from the Arnold, and when I picked him up from the airport, he was hungry, and he told me I wasn't allowed to bring any meal prepped food. I got yelled at for bringing like some shredded chicken.
are you serious?
Yeah. But anyways, so first we stopped and got appetizers at this taco food truck.
Hell yeah.
Um, then we went and got this like hibachi from just this like store that you knew it was going to be good because
Yeah.
it was so busy, but it was in like a not great part of town. Anyways, we were standing there ordering, and I'm like looking at the menu like opposite, and the counter is this way, and the woman was like just like staring at my legs. And she was because Ben had like a big hoodie on, and we were saying that we were there for the Arnold, and she was like, she's a bodybuilder. And like he had no, and like she did not say anything about Ben. And Ben's like, I'm a bodybuilder. It was great.
Nope, I get the
So
attention. That's amazing. I love it.
I'm loving the compliments about my physique, but I'm like, yo, I just like prep so
You
much.
love prepping.
Yeah.
Kiki loves dieting.
Yeah, it's easy for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
feel like I am not in like it's wild to me that it's been like what 8, 9 weeks already. Like it doesn't feel like that at all. I still like don't give a fuck about food.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really nice.
Yeah.
But also I have no one I just like am isolated. So it's
Yeah.
not like I'm watching people like that. For this past weekend being at my family with my family was like, oh, you guys are annoying me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that also comes with like maturing as an athlete too.
Yeah.
Like now, like, and like when you have like such these big goals of like going to the Pittsburgh and going pro, like it's like food doesn't, you could put whatever in front of you and it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Like, and that's
Yeah.
a great feeling. Because you've been through this before, like you know that food is going to be there. Sometimes it takes a couple of seasons to understand kind of that food process. Um, but like, yeah, like for me now, like I'm just like, I just like, I don't really care. Like, yeah,
Right.
want some food sometimes, but like, that's just like, I want like more rice or something instead of like scrolling the image.
Watching food porn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like my food and how I season it. So that's another big thing is like I think like we always look back at like our my fitness fell from when we first started. It's like, what was I eating? Like
Yeah.
I just had my like baby competitor. I looked at her stuff. I was like, here's a food plan for you. Like, I need you to do this.
Yeah. It's definitely for the people who like obviously are not like coaches and competitors, like it's interesting seeing like what they're doing. And I'm like, why are we doing? Why are you putting this in there? Like, oh no.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to do this or better ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is
It
all just like learning.
mm, it is fun. Like I like working with first time competitors because they're just so naive to everything. I mean, you have to be very meticulous with like how you're coaching them and, making sure
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, did I tell them to do all of these things? Like, because
Right?
it's like there's so much that goes into your first show that, if you're just like a general gym junkie and you're just getting into this, it's like there's so much information that I'm like, it could be like books and books that I would give people to
Yeah.
understand what all goes into it. So,
It's also like so hard like to find it's not hard to find because there's so much information out there, but like the finding the right information to send them. Like I don't want them to have any like weird misconceptions about it, or like I want them to know what to expect going into the show, which is a good segue to what we're talking about.
yeah.
But do you want to talk about like the prep process first?
Um, just in terms of like starting a prep.
Yeah, I mean, what to expect. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think like the first thing when you're getting into your first prep, it also could be your second or third prep is, you know, going into it and understanding what the purpose of that prep is. So if it's your very first prep, like, are you like prepping just as a bucket list item? Are you prepping because you saw some girl on Instagram do it? Like why are you doing this?
Right.
Um, because sometimes it's just an experience for people, and that's great. Sometimes I have clients right now that are kind of like in the fitness industry. They're like a Orange Theory fitness coach, or they've kind of just like working out, and they're like, I need a new challenge. And it's really kind of cool to see them like get
Yeah.
into new thing. And
Right.
it helps them like as coaches and professionals too,
Hmm.
their workplace to like not like show off, but like you're like setting a good example for yourself. So definitely just like sitting down with yourself and understanding why you are prepping and why are you doing this show.
Because that is 1000% going to set the tone for your prep. And
Mhm.
like how much effort you put in and like how well, not how well you do, but um, how much you like, whether you're going to enjoy it or not, essentially.
Yeah, I mean my first show, I was so like naive to anything, everything. I mean, have been working out for like 3 years. I was, doing like following macros and stuff by myself for like the years prior. So it's not like I was just jumping into a prep and like learning everything. It's like I
Mhm.
already knew how to train, I already knew how to eat. Like it's just like I needed someone to help me get on stage. And that made the experience so good because I wasn't flustered about like making sure my macros were like trying to like understand and learn macros while also trying to prep and pose and all this stuff. I had a good foundation, and then I was able to just like execute and really just dive into like the bodybuilding things instead of just the, general lifestyle macros
How the
training.
fuck do I do this? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I taught myself how to track macros probably like 6 months before, but I literally cannot imagine trying to learn how to track macros while starting prep. That would just be like the most stress that you could put on yourself. Um,
Yeah. And even if your prep plan is like a meal plan, I think it's still really essential to know and understand macros
yeah,
before going into that. A, to help your relationship with food. So and then also so like what you are
what you could eat.
consuming.
Yeah.
I hate competitors who are like I'm like, so where are you at? And they're like, I don't know, I just follow a meal plan. I'm like, okay, that's fine because I follow a meal plan, but like I still understand where my levels are at. Because I think first time competitors, especially if they go to a local like coach, and I mean I've had girls come to me with coming from these local gym coaches who don't know shit and they give them like 4 almonds, and it's like they don't even know where their calories are at. They don't know how detrimental their fat levels being at like 10.
Right.
They don't know anything and they're eating like 200 grams of protein, 10 fat. So I think it's essential to know
Yeah,
macros prior.
1000%. Even when I give people a meal plan, I'm like, I need you tracking this into your app because there's going to be discrepancies everywhere. Like,
Mhm.
depending what you get, how you cook shit, um, all of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think like that was a good experience when you and I were like
Sorry.
prepping and coaching together was like we obviously had this like meal plan set out, but depending on the brand of tortillas that you were using or,
Yeah.
you know, what if you were using like American Dream nut butter versus Fit Butters versus a
Hmm.
regular peanut butter, there's going to be differences. So it is really good to have, you know, both the macros and your meal plan so you can marry them together.
Marry them and learn from them.
Yeah.
nurture that relationship.
Yes, yes. And also like I think like every obviously competition season you go into, you have to set those expectations of like what this show and what this purpose is. You
Hmm.
know, like I said, my first show is just to like get on stage and see what it's about. Obviously, I got the bikini bug bit.
Yeah.
And then like I didn't know anything about nationals or whatever. Like my next season after that, I like went straight into nationals, which was dumb because like that's just what my coach told me to do. I'm like, maybe we probably should have been on the regional stage a little bit longer, whatever. But then that the season after that, you know, was my Arnold prep. And,
Hmm.
you know, I took, I mean, I needed to build a lot and I'm still building,
Yeah.
but after every season, I've taken long improvement and building seasons. And then when I was going into the Arnold, I knew I was doing the Arnold just to do the Arnold.
Yeah.
Like it was, I'm from Ohio and the Arnold is always just such a big weekend that, I was like, I don't give two shits how I do because I want to just step on the Arnold stage
Right.
and just to do it. And
Right.
sometimes like I don't like bucket list shows for people, but like that one meant so much to me. And I knew going into that prep that I was just literally stepping on stage to step on the Arnold stage. And
Hmm.
like I knew I wasn't going to go pro or do very well. And I didn't care. I
Yeah.
knew I had so much more muscle to build. And I like obviously I needed a lot of muscle. But it was just like a cool experience. And I like it was great. I got to watch one of my like teammates at the time get like second place and
Yeah.
just being in the atmosphere and being grateful to compete at the Arnold
Yeah.
was huge. And that was the trajectory that, pushed me to want to go pro
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. I mean, setting like you went into that show knowing you weren't gonna go pro, setting realistic, like, or even probably get like top five. So setting real, honestly, I would say like newbie competitors should, if any, like set realistic expectations, but if anything, like lower their expectations.
Mhm.
Obviously, we want to dream big and like have big goals for ourselves, but like there's so many people, like I cannot emphasize enough how big these girls on stage are, muscular density wise. Like you can't lift for 6 months and expect the world.
Yeah. And like, yeah, these girls are big. And
Massive.
and you also don't know who you're going up against. Like just because it's also someone's very first show, they could have been an athlete in college and
Yeah.
they already have that muscular foundation, whether they were training in a gym or not. If they were like a tennis player, I don't even know. They still have such a like more foundation of muscle than you.
Hmm.
Genetics. I mean,
Yes.
genetics are going to win. You could be going up against girls who have been competing for 4 or 5 years.
On
Um,
4 or 5 drug cycles. I mean, let's
yes.
be real.
Yeah. So it's like it's so like as much as we obviously want to win and beat everyone, it's you you just have to emphasize like bringing your best.
Yeah. And being happy with whatever happens and knowing like you did something fucking awesome. Like if you put your all into your prep and you did everything that you possibly could and you don't get the place you wanted to show, dude, that's still amazing. Like
Yeah.
that
And
is
it's
a
like
huge accomplishment.
yeah, and it's like every show is a learning experience. So
Yeah.
like so did you feel more flustered on stage? Well, maybe you probably should have practiced your posing more,
Yes.
you
That
know?
I wrote that down. Like I cannot emphasize enough. Make sure you know like A, what show date kind of looks like. And B, that you know exactly what the fuck you're doing on stage. Like your posing routine should be muscle memory. Like please.
And practice um not in front of a mirror
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you don't get a mirror. So it feels a heck of a lot different. And
Hmm.
I was like just like going through my posing in the garage yesterday, and I don't have any mirrors in there.
Yeah.
I'm literally just like posing, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna video this just so I just so I have it. I haven't even looked at it yet, but it was really weird to like stare at the camera and not have
Mhm.
like my big mirror in front of
Yeah.
me because
Yeah.
I've just been used to that during improvement seasons.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely different. Like you have to know exactly how you're putting your body into place.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, make sure you have posing and like the comparison thing dialed, how you're walking on stage, how you're walking off the stage, what you're supposed to do to turn around, like all of the things. Sorry, don't. Um, I guess also like just for show day things, like be prepared for shit to be behind. Um, I'll have plenty of food with you. Um, Makeup is always late if you're
Or be prepared for it to go super quick.
yeah, that too.
Yeah, I mean I've been at shows where it's been running super quick and also so far behind.
Hmm.
The best thing that you can do is have everything with you. And that's just kind of like throughout your entire prep too.
Hmm. Being
If you're
prepared.
Yeah, if you're going over to like your parents' house, dude, your parents like to talk to they like to talk to their children. So if you ate like before you went over, you should definitely bring food with you just in case.
Yeah. And also so that you don't treat them like an asshole.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
On Sunday, I was like, we were there way later than I expected. So I was like trying to push my food back. And when by the time we got home, I was like mad. But
So angry. You're
yeah,
like,
yes, basically. So always have food on you.
because when you get it, like you may not think that it's as important, like the early parts of prep, but when you're getting to 4 weeks out, 2 weeks out, peak week, the day before the show, like you need to have your shit ready
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going to happen. And it's pretty important to, space your meals out appropriately, making sure you're
Hmm.
fueling yourself so we're not having these huge dips where it's like taking you so long to climb out. Um, of that like depleted state.
Hmm.
Sometimes when you like push your meals too far back, like if it's like 4 or 5 hours, you know, that next meal that you have is like basically bringing you up just a couple of percentage points instead of if it was like every 2, 3 hours,
Yeah.
you're like refilling, like you're like dipping down and then we're back up and dipping
Right.
down, we're back up instead of like
Way
plummeting down.
down and just a little bit back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being like prepared at all times. I said like with one of my girls was just traveling, and I was like, okay, well, there's like, we have to, there is no like half-assing. Like we're on plan or you're not. Like you're either following your plan or you're not. And you need to be prepared to follow your plan, like all throughout your prep. Um, so that's like it's a learning curve too, but you need to make sure that you are mentally prepared for everything, like physically, like finding gyms, like wherever you are, you have boxes to check every day in your prep.
Mhm. Yeah. And making like, yeah, you just have to check those boxes.
Yeah,
And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like
literally.
I don't deal with people's excuses. Like, I mean, I get them. Like they come like people give me their excuses and I'm just like, all right, like what do
Okay,
you do?
why?
Yeah. Like,
No.
why didn't you have that with you? Or,
Yeah.
I'm just I think I don't know if it's just because I'm like notorious like over planner. Like I'll always have something, even if it's not like 1000% perfect, it's like having like an extra tuna pack with me.
Mhm.
Or like, I have tuna packs in my car because you never know if you're gonna crash.
Yep.
You have to wait for AAA. AAA doesn't want to deal with hungry Kiki. So
No.
I'm always gonna have rice cakes or something.
Yep. Yep. That is a necessity.
Yeah. And obviously stuff happens, but like I think just, taking the effort to prepare ahead of time.
Mhm.
Uh, and, communicate with your coach. That's
Please.
probably like the first thing
Yeah.
with whether you are a first time competitor or a seasoned competitor, just communication.
That is, I mean, like that, yeah. Okay, yes, this is major, like 1000% the most important thing. Like, we want to know what you're doing. I need to know what you're doing. And like, nothing is like too much. Okay, not true. Um, there are some things that I don't need to know, but that's just like minute details. Um, like we need to know what you're doing. So be prepared to communicate with someone about like taking a shit, all of the
Dude,
things.
I make jokes all the time. People are like, "Oh, sorry, TMI." I'm like, "Dude, I talk about poop all day."
One of
Like,
my clients sent me a reel the other day. It was something about poop. She's like, "You talking about poop all the time?" I'm like, "Okay, so I have a reputation. Got it."
it's important. Shitting is very important.
Every day I take a shit, I want to text you. I'm like, "Hey, we got another day went by that we didn't not poop."
Side note, I was having like really bad digestion issues the week before the Arnold, or
Yeah.
like the week of the Arnold and like going into Arnold weekend. And I was like every day like at the Arnold, I was like, Ben, I'm still hasn't haven't shit yet. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, dead ass. Like I have not pooped. And then so like finally shit on Monday. And so like I was like, I had to immediately text him. I was like, I think I just lost 5 pounds.
Hell yeah. But yeah, we don't care. We want to hear about your shit.
Yeah.
And
About your actual shit and like the shit going on in your life. Like,
yeah, what are you doing? How are you following your plan? Um, are you having any issues? What are you eating? Um, what else? Okay, so communication, preparation, basically treating like expect to treat your prep like your fucking job
it
because
is a second
that's
job.
what it is.
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah. I mean,
Um, sorry.
yeah. And then you listen to your boss. I
Yep.
mean, coach,
Yes.
your boss.
Um, I guess the last thing we can touch on is like actually at the show, like your expectations for, whether like if you're disappointed with your placing, like prepare to be disappointed, I guess, because you never know who's going to show up. We kind of already talked about that, but just like not acting, well, okay, my first national show, I didn't expect this is why we lower expectations. I did not expect to get third call outs, but I did. Did I stand on stage with the fucking poo poo frowning face while I waited there to get my finally get called out? No. Did I go cry backstage? No. Did I complain about it to other competitors backstage and act like a little bitch and like huff on out of there? No. Like, don't act like that if you are disappointed with your placing,
Yeah.
how the show
On
turned.
it, like regional shows, obviously, yes. Like national shows, you better expect to just lose. Like, and that's, I mean, in my career, I've won twice.
Yeah.
Regional show in 2020 and then when I got my pro card.
Hmm.
And last year, I brought my best physique and I lost, like hardcore lost in three shows, and I looked good. I brought my absolute best and it fucking sucks. But it's like the thing, like if you ain't first, you're last. So like
Yep.
you just have to kind of set those expectations and like everybody for the most part on stage are following their plans. They did all the cardio, they did all the training. And just because you did too, like that doesn't ex give you automatic, like give you a win,
Hmm. And
and
like,
if you brought your best, you did bring your, like, obviously your best was when we were in Minnesota, but that was after North Americans.
yeah, I brought what the best that I could to North
Hmm.
Americans, and that is what it is. Um, also what I was going to say, like at your show in Florida, so many people were coming up to you and telling you, like, oh my God, you're gonna do so, like, she's gonna have a good day. Like, she's gonna, like, everyone basically said, like, first call outs to you. And like that is another thing that you can't let get in your head. Like just because you're, and it wasn't your family and friends. And this was all warranted.
It was
Like
random people.
it was random people. Like just because people say that you're like gonna win or your family thinks you look good, like that doesn't mean anything unless they're the judges. Like,
Yeah, even your coach, like
yeah.
obviously, like as a coach, we have like the coach's eye of what we need the competitors to do, but we also see our competitors very like we want obviously want them to do well,
Biased.
so we think that they look really good too, but we're not the judges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately not. It'd be a conflict of interest.
Yes. But I do think like you obviously setting your expectations for your prep as a whole, but also show day is, at that point you can't do anything
Yeah,
differently. You know,
exactly.
you can't control what happens. You literally just have to listen to your coach and execute on your posing and then let the cards play out as they play out and
Mhm.
be grateful that you are able to compete because this is a luxury sport, a luxury hobby. And not like not many people just want to be like, yeah, give me no food and give me all this cardio. Like
Yeah.
you're choosing this. So be grateful that you are able to actively diet. Like
Mhm.
you're and not in short of food. You
Right.
know, your body is able to move and go to the gym.
Hmm.
And
You're
then you just
able, you have the resources to afford to do this,
mhm, mhm,
all of the
yeah.
things.
So
And
just
be
have
proud of yourself.
yes, yes, regardless of what happened, like you should be proud of what you did. If you executed your protocols exactly how you were supposed to, like you brought your best, and most of the time, like you bring your best every single like show,
Hmm.
like in the trajectory of moving forward in the sport,
Right.
until you get out like the top level, and then when you're like messing with things, but that's not the point.
Hmm. Yeah.
So be proud, be grateful.
Have fun with it because it is so fun. Like being on stage is so fun.
I
So
know.
enjoy it every moment. Appreciate the grind. That's all
Yeah.
I got.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Yeah. If you have any questions or concerns, no concerns. We don't want to hear
Yeah.
it.
Get out of here.
Find me on Instagram at Beckon_bikini.
You can find me on Instagram at KeekersLaugh_ IFBB Pro. Give us a 5-star rating and review.
Yes, please. Um, okay.
Yeah, let us know what you guys want to hear more of. The first part of this year, we basically been talking about like just general fat loss and, following your coach and, how to get your goals. But if you guys want us to expand more on any sort of
Anything
topic,
specific? Yeah, anything fun? We need to do another fun one soon.
yeah,
I don't know what about.
there we go. Let us know. Let us know what you want to hear
Yes.
about. All right. Until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. What's up, guys? Coach Kiki here. I just wanted to thank you for listening to this episode of Champagne Gains. If you loved this episode, please make sure you do all of the things like, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review, and share with your champagne bestie. Champagne Gains is also brought to you by Coach Kiki LFG Gym Gear. Unlock the full power of your workouts with Coach Kiki's Let's Fucking Grow hip bands, long resistance bands, cable ankle straps, and hip thrust pads. For all of your sprinkle booty gains, check out CoachKikiLFG.com. Thanks, guys. Cheers.